Right, today I'm going to show you a couple ways to prevent your car license plate from being stolen. I got my license plate stolen a couple times, and it didn't feel good at all. And I lost a lot of time and effort into trying to replace the plate. And if you drive around, if you get your plate stolen and you drive around without knowing your plate is stolen, and you get pulled over by the cops, you'll be in deep surprise. Depends on what cops you're dealing with, but you'll be in for a deep surprise. Anyway, so today I'm going to show you a couple of simple ways to prevent your plates from being stolen. Alright, so usually your plates goes with a couple of screws to secure in place, but they're usually a standard metal screws like this one here. And with this screw and with a screwdriver, only takes me like less than a minute to remove both screws. And so what I have here is a different kind of screw. The screw is a flat head screw. It's not like flat slot, but there's nothing on the head of the screw. The only way to put it in is to use a pair of pliers like this one here, and then just grab the head and then screw it in. Or if you want to remove it, you have to do the same, right? Grab the head, turn it. As you can see here, I already installed one screw there, so it's not easy to remove this screw. And you can buy these at Lowe's or Home Depot. Looks like that. Okay. Alright, let me try to remove this screw, see how hard or easy it is. So tight in there. Pair of pliers. Ouch. It's quite stiff. As you can see, it's not easy with pliers to grab. Keep slipping and make noises too, so it's highly unlikely that somebody would prefer doing this rather than other easier target. It keeps slipping because I can't grab it. Alright, so the second way to secure your plate, if you don't have this screw around, if your local Home Depot or Lowe's don't sell this, you can still use your own screws. Make sure that you use screws that look like this. Okay, the head is at an angle like that. Okay, you can still use this screw, but I think it's not good because you can still use a pair of pliers, grab the head, and you can still turn it. Okay, these screws is the worst. You can use many tools to open this. You can use a pair of pliers, you can use a hex socket, or you can use a screwdriver. So this screw is really bad for this application, that is. So make sure you use a screw like this. I'm going to tell you why. So it has an angle like that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole on my plate cover. This is a plate cover, and you can see here's about, see how thick it is, this part here. It's not very thick, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the hole so that the head of the screw sink into the hole, but not through the hole, because I still need the screw to hold this plate cover, right? So big enough for this to sink into the hole. You can see here right now I can still use a pair of pliers to grab it, right? Grab the head. So I want to drill the hole big enough so you can sink this down. Okay, so let's get started. Got my 1/2 inch drill bit here. So let's see what we got. By the way, this plate is aluminum. It's aluminum. It's metal. It's aluminum. Some of the plates are plastic, and I think it's easier to work on. But this is aluminum. Make sure I don't drill all the way through, otherwise it will defeat the purpose, right? Like that. Right, got my hole drilled, and let's see here. I'll show you on this angle. The head of the screw will sit flush with the surface of the cover. Okay, so now you can't use a pair of pliers to grab and turn the screw anymore. The only way is to use a screwdriver to turn it. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put some glue after I install the cover back. I put some glue and cover the entire hole here, so that way you cannot even use a screwdriver to remove the screw anymore. Also, for the screws, you want to use a long screw as possible. The longer the better. Because when you're a thief, you're trying to steal the plate, you want to spend as little time as possible to pull out the screw. Right? So the longer the screw, the better. Long enough not to touch the back of the trunk, but not too short. So that will make it easier for the thief to steal. Alright, so I've just put back my plates. As you can see here, the screws sit flush with the cover. See that? So it stays flat with the cover. So now I can't use a pair of pliers to grab onto the head and turn the screws. Right? But you can still use a screwdriver to drive the screws out. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue and cover up this hole here, so there's no way you can stick a screwdriver in there anymore. Right, so I got my glue here, super glue here, and this is the epoxy, mixing epoxy that you mix the two together and it will harden after you mix them together. And this glue, when it's dry, is really hard. It's as hard as this PVC conduit here. It's really hard and tough, so that you can't put the screw into the screwdriver to remove the screws anymore. So I'm just gonna mix them up. Should be enough. And when you mix them, make sure that you mix them really well, more than usual. How's that? Because this, when you put in the hole, it tends to flow down, so it doesn't stay in the hole. So you want to mix them so that you stay rigid enough, so that it doesn't flow too much. Right? So mix. Alright, so now that my glue is ready, I'm just gonna put some in the hole of the screw. So you got a good amount, okay? Do it from the other side. That's why you have to mix it real good, so that it's almost dry but not dry, so that it solidifies. Okay, so that when you put it in here, it doesn't flow down and out of the hole. You want it to stay in the hole. You see here, this already trying to flow down because of gravity. I guess you can just stay here try to put it back in when it's being dried. Doesn't take long, a few minutes to solidify. So when you do this, make sure that you do it during the day when the sun is shining, especially if the sun is shining at an angle directly to the screws, to the glue. The sun's UV ray will make the glue dry faster so it doesn't flow downward. And I think I'm almost done here. I'm just going to let it dry for a couple hours and I'll be back and show you how hard it is. It's going to be hard as rock. So there's no way you can stick a screwdriver here and try to turn this anymore. This is permanent. Another way to put in the glue if you don't want the glue to run down is open up the trunk. And that's if your plate is mounted on the trunk lid and not on the bumper itself. So when you open up the trunk, the license plate will stay horizontal like this instead of vertical. So when you put the glue on top of the plate, it will stay and it won't run down. But that means you have to climb up the car and do it on the from the top. Alright, so it's been a couple hours now and the glue is set. I think it's rock hard now. This glue requires about 10 to 12 hours to cure, but after just a couple hours, it's rock hard. Now I got my wrench here, and let me try to penetrate this, see if I can open it. This is a hex screw, so I got my hex wrench here. Let's see if I can open this. Trying to push in really hard. You see, it doesn't budge. More likely to break my wrench here. See, I scratched it a little bit, but it doesn't budge. It doesn't move at all. Try this one. It's rock hard. Rock hard. So there's no way I can use my wrench to open this anymore, and I cannot use any kind of plier to clamp on this to turn because it's flat with the surface. Right, so the only way now for me to remove the screws is to use a propane torch like this one right here to heat up hot enough to melt the glues. But so I can heat up the screw directly, or I can heat up my wrench, heat up this part here hot enough so that when I stick in here it will melt the glue, and that way I can turn and open up the screws. So I can assure you that no thief is going to walk around one hand holding a propane torch, the other hand holding a screwdriver trying to steal your plates. Why does he have to do that? I mean, the car right next to you, parking right next to you in the parking lot, it's a lot easier to steal. I mean, the plates. Why bother, right? And the third way to secure the plate is to, instead of using glues, you can use a very long screw going through the trunk, and then you have to open up the back of the trunk and then use a nut, a lock nut on the back to secure the screw on the back. That way, in order for a thief to remove the screw, he has to turn the screw and then also have to hold the nuts on the back. But that will require me to open up the trunk and open up the back of the trunk to install the lock nuts on the back. But I don't want to go that far. I think this will do. Also, the registration sticker. This is for California. I don't know about other states, but for California, there's also a sticker that you have to affix over here on this corner. And this sticker also got stolen quite often. So what I usually do is after I put on the sticker on the plate, I use a knife, blade or knife, cut it like that, so that now, cut it in small sections, small pieces. The sticker is still stuck on the plate. It's not going anywhere. But now if you want to peel this off, you're trying to steal the sticker. If you want to peel this off, it's not going to go out in one piece. It's going to go out in small pieces. It's going to be destroyed. So this is another way to protect yourself from, getting your sticker stolen. Alright, so that's it, folks. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it a little bit harder than the car parking right next to you in the parking lot for a thief to steal the plate. So that way they'll give up stealing your plate and go move on to the next car. And it only cost me like 5-10 minutes to do this, and will save me from a lot of trouble and a lot of time, going to the DMV, or even I got pulled over by the police without the plate. It's gonna be really troublesome. I mean, it depends on what kind of police you're dealing with, but still, it's really a hassle. Alright, and that's all I have for now, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.